Virtual India Sourcing Show. I am Meghla in Singapore and I'm joined by Margaret in Australia. And our third host, Kevin, is on vacation. So he won't be joining us today. And our guest today is CJ Rosenbaum from Amazon Sellers Lawyer. Hi, CJ. How are you doing?
Hey, Meghla and Margaret. How are you? Thank you for having me on the first Wednesday webinar. I can't be more excited about talking to sellers and trying to make sure that they avoid suspensions at all costs.
That's good. Well, you know where we'd be, CJ, if it wasn't COVID, just about in the bar at the Shangri-La by now. We'd be flying in, I think, today. It's in my diary.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys are traveling again. The India trip was awesome. I wish as soon as possible we'll be back.
We definitely will be.
Definitely, yeah. And you were planning to go to Goa, right, Mark? Before the trip.
Oh, well, it would have been Jai for this one. The last one, that was April, was going to be Goa. We're going to do Jai for this time. So, yeah, so we'll get there eventually. We're going to be busy traveling in India, catching up.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, look who's joined us, Alan. Hi, Alan. How's it going? You're awake early, Alan, huh?
Is Alan going to go online and just do some card tricks for us before we get started?
Possibly. Alan, do you want to join us and do some card tricks? Cool. Okay, so CJ, what we want to talk about today is, suspensions and listing suspensions and account suspensions and all the kinds of issues that sellers have, especially during Q4. And of course, this is going to be a huge Q4 and a lot of, we're expecting a lot of action. So the last thing sellers want is to get suspended. So we want your advice on, what sellers can do to prepare for Q4 so that they are not suspended or they don't face any issues. So first of all, what are some of the common reasons or issues that you're seeing sellers face nowadays in relation to, listing suspension, account suspension, or other kinds of issues that you deal with?
All right. Well, always, inauthentic has always been the number one cause of listing suspensions, the number one cause of account suspensions. But with Q4 coinciding with the COVID pandemic, we are seeing a huge explosion of intellectual property right complaints going out there because every brand, every brick and mortar business is absolutely sucking wind and hemorrhaging money. So what they're doing is they're trying to kill the individual sellers selling genuine products. So while inauthentics are still a big deal, the IP complaints, Amazon's own suspected IP complaints, and this new thing that we saw from about a year or so now, but now it's just insane, maybe inauthentics, are just off the charts, and sellers are getting their legs cut off faster than ever. But we're also seeing really, really quick reinstatements. So Q4 coinciding with the COVID pandemic, IP complaints are absolutely off the charts right now.
Oh, Mark, you're muted.
So I'm trying to keep the dog quiet because I've got nobody in mind the dog today. Yeah, CJ, what do you think sellers can do to prevent their account suspensions in Q4? What's the best thing or the thing you can try and to do the best, I suppose?
Well, I think there's really two things you need to do in advance. One, make sure you're keeping your documents. I mean, this is like Amazon selling 101. Keep your invoices, keep your receipts. But I think what you need to do now, since we know that the brands are coming after you like a pack of wild dogs, okay? Don't just keep your invoices, but in advance, try and do the research now so that you can link your source of products all the way back to the manufacturer in advance. So in any time, any day, any time you get an inauthentic, you get an IP complaint, you can not only show your invoices, but that vital link all the way back to the brand, to the manufacturer. And I would also start planning for 2021. What we're seeing now with Q4 and COVID is the importance of getting your own products. And Meghla did not ask me to promote this at all, but what we're seeing with brands and small brands, large brands, private label brands enforcing their IP rights stronger than ever, you need to develop your own brand. Start thinking about it now. because that can also help you get suspended, where you're arguing that as soon as 2021 hits, you're going to go to India and source products, and you already have a plan to develop your own brand. So those three things: documents, the research to link your source back to the manufacturer, and start planning for your private label brand right now, so that if needed, you can include that into a plan of action into your long-term changes for your business.
So talking about documentation, what specific types of documents should sellers prepare? I mean, you said invoices, but can you give a little bit more details?
Holy cow, I can talk for hours about invoices. Okay, I've done presentations an hour and a half long just on invoices. So what you want to make sure is everything on your side of the invoice matches everything, or as much as possible, to your Amazon account. Name, address, email, phone number, everything you can make match, make it match. On the sources side of the invoice, you want to make sure that everything on their side of the invoice can be verified. That if someone in India Google Earths, right, a guy working at Amazon Google Earths that address, they're going to see a commercial establishment, and you can double check that yourself. You want to get sources that will answer the phone call. Amazon is making more calls than ever to do two things: to verify your source, and also we know Amazon is selling more and more and more products itself. And where do they get products from? From your sources. So I would do in advance, make sure you have that stuff lined up. And if your source will not pick up a phone, okay, from Jeff Bezos's team, source someplace else.
Right. So let me just see who's here. Petty. So guys, if you have any questions for CJ, please type them in the comments. Ashlyn, hey. CJ rocks.
Ashlyn's the best. Also, get insurance. Okay? Get insurance. It's a way of showing Amazon that you are a legitimate business with long-term business plans. And Ashlyn is the #1 broker for product liability insurance, errors and omissions coverage. She's my broker. If you're in e-commerce, contact Ashlyn. I'll give you her cell.
Hi, Zara. Zara.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
Right. CJ, yeah, just preparing a plan of action. What are the best practices for doing that?
Okay, the #1 best practice, and you don't have to be Shakespeare to write a plan of action. The #1 thing you need to do is have a structure that Amazon's looking for. There's an old Cajun saying that says, it's easy to ride the horse in the direction that it's already going. So Amazon staff, and this was confirmed in the last trip to India for the India sourcing trip, where I went to Hyderabad and I met with about 40 different Amazon members, and they're looking for the same structure. Root cause. Why is Amazon or the consumer having an issue with you? #2, your second section. What did you immediately do to try and fix the problem or make the consumer happy? And #3, what are the long-term changes to your business that you're going to make so that Amazon staff can rest assured that they will not have the same problem with you? Which is why I am constantly pitching to sellers, start developing your private label brand now, even if it's not in your future, in your near-term future, because then you can argue it to Amazon. You can argue, I've already applied to the IP Accelerator program. I've already applied for this mark. I've already started looking at sources in India, in China, in Vietnam to have my product. So start now so you have these arguments at your disposal. But the #1 thing, and I'm droning on, is plan of action is structure. Root cause, immediate corrective action, and long-term changes to your business. That's the structure every single plan of action should have.
Okay. Well, I mean, you did, or your firm did a plan of action for me because I got suspended for nothing that I did wrong. But anyway, and honestly, I don't think I could do it anywhere near as well as you did. I would have been still going back and forwards, I think, to get it right. I mean, I just felt that there was a lot more involved in it than I actually thought. It wasn't just a couple of sentences. It was a couple of pages long. So, you know, I think if people are getting stuck and getting rejected a couple of times, it's well worth getting it done properly than just I think I could have made it worse by saying the wrong things, and that was what I was nervous of, and it was well worth having it done professionally.
Hey, thank you very much. Now, as a law firm, everything everybody tells us, whether they hire us or not, is confidential. So I never would have revealed that we helped you out. So thank you very much. Listen, we're the world's best because I have the world's best team, not because of me, but we have an incredible people on our team. We're up to, I think, 35 people strong now. Nobody without a college education works on plans of action. Every plan of action is reviewed by an attorney managing that particular team of paralegals. And we are the most successful, the world's best, because we just have a great team.
And it's amazing, CJ. So I think the first time you and I talked was maybe in 2016. I think you were just starting out, or maybe it was 2017. I can't remember exactly. But I had just, we had launched Global Sources Summit, and I was looking for speakers, and I think we had connected somehow. And we were on the phone, and you told me, hey, you know what? Third-party sellers can take Amazon to court. And I was like, what? No, that's not possible. What's this guy saying? Who is this guy? And then, I've just seen your team grow so much. You've just helped so many sellers along the way. So it's been amazing.
It's cool. We keep track of how many jobs we save. And what we do is every time a seller contacts us, we ask how many people rely upon this account for their livelihood, how many employees. And we're like in the tens of thousands of jobs that my team has saved. So to my team, if you're watching this, absolutely awesome, because, saving someone's livelihood, that really is important.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this error 5665 that a lot of new sellers are seeing when they try to list a product, and they're required to apply for exemption, and they have to jump through hoops and to prove that they really own their brand. So what do you think is happening over here? Do you think Amazon's intention is to really make it compulsory to have brand registry to list someone's first product? And do you think in the future they will suppress listings, or will they give notice of this in the future? What's going on with this brand, this error that people are seeing?
Well, I'm not sure if they're going to if it is going to make it compulsory or not, but I think that Amazon certainly makes it incredibly advantageous to do it. And I sent you their policies, like those 3 super broadly worded sentences was the whole policy on this. So a couple of things. One, you should absolutely get brand registry. There's no reason, if you have your own brand, to not do it. It gives you so many tools to protect your sales. My partner, Rob Siegel, has developed a whole area of practice protecting private label sellers from hijackers, brand protection for sellers. So there's no reason not to do it. It makes it easier to monitor your listing. It gives you control over the listing for the most part. It gives you the ability to contact other sellers who might be selling counterfeit products of yours. So is it going to be compulsory? I don't know. Overall, I think it's Amazon just trying to take more steps to protect its consumers from counterfeit products, or at least to sort of have that persona of protecting the consumer, when Amazon really protects itself first. Okay, 1,000%. But I think it's a great idea. I don't think it'll be compulsory, but it will be manipulated that everybody should do it, which I think they should do anyway.
Right. So let's just see if there are any questions here. So Lois is saying, hi, in a work break, so just on for a minute. Helen from New Zealand. Hi, Helen. How's it going? Facebook user. Okay, Zara has a question. If your account gets suspended, does your social proof in the form of reviews disappear as well?
When you get the account reinstated, it gets reinstated with all your reviews. The social proof, meaning the Amazon reviews, come back. Everything else, like if you have like Facebook reviews or you do press releases or other launch tactics, those should not be affected. Amazon doesn't yet own the entire planet. They own the US market. They own the Washington Post. They own a spaceship, but everything else should be fine. But your reviews should all come back if that listing comes back and when your account gets reinstated.
Good. Okay. We're right. Yeah, look, CJ, to help sort of, I suppose, mainly new sellers understand how trademark works, and if you go like through the USPTO, how long it takes and the process compared to now the new Amazon Accelerator program, it'll just, I think, might encourage people to take the quick route.
Okay, so here's the deal. In order to have protection for your mark in the United States, you get it as soon as you create it, but you can't really enforce it without applying to the USPTO for a trademark. It takes roughly 9 months, sometimes a bit sooner, sometimes a bit longer if there's what's called an office action or some objection to it. So that's going through the USPTO directly, and everyone has the capability to do it yourself. We used to do it as part of our practice, and we stopped 1,000% when Amazon created the IP Accelerator program. So what is it? Amazon created this IP Accelerator program and solicited lawyers to join the program. And you can then go through any one of Amazon's approved law firms. There are some very fine law firms out there. The application is a piece of cake anyway. So you use one of the law firms that's in bed with Amazon, and within a week or so of applying for the trademark, Amazon will give you brand registry and all the benefits as if the trademark has already been approved. So we don't do it anymore. Every single seller who creates a mark, we send them over to the IP Accelerator program. Yes, the lawyers are in bed with Amazon. Yes, they're charging you more than other lawyers really ever did to apply for a trademark, but the value of getting brand registry practically immediately is invaluable. It's priceless. So everybody should start doing it. Develop a logo, a brand, an ID, and then get it through IP Accelerator program, and then get into brand registry. Also, don't forget, get insurance, because you are responsible for that product. And there's been a couple of cases in California, some cases in New York, where traditional product liability law is now being imposed upon the sellers, which was not very difficult to predict. So you want to make sure, use IP Accelerator program. And also, again, just as long as insurance came up, you should also get a policy when it's still cheap.
And for insurance, is it a good idea or a good practice to get insurance for any product that you do, or is it specifically for, like baby products or maybe topical kind of products?
I would go with the most general. It's called errors and omissions policy. Get the most general errors and omissions policy that you can as soon as you can while your sales are low. And when you fill out the form, it's going to have the least information, which means your premium will be a lot less. Also, there's things called an umbrella policy. If you're a homeowner, you might be able to get an umbrella policy that might cover it. Ashlyn can answer these questions a whole lot better than I can, but you should absolutely get it. General errors and omissions should be sufficient, and it should cover just about everything. And it covers not just if someone gets hurt or somebody's house burns down. It also provides lawyers to defend you, which is a whole nother kettle of fish. You absolutely want an insurance company to pay for your legal defense. You don't want to write those checks yourself, not in the US.
Right. So Zara saying, I just got brand registered. Yay.
I hope she did it just during this program. I hope she did the application, IP Accelerator, and it was that quick.
Doubt it. Okay, so Helen is asking, if you're going through IP Accelerator for one brand, can you then do another brand while waiting for a trademark?
I think you can, but I don't know the answer to that. I don't see why you can't. So if there's no rule against it, then I think you can do it. But I would certainly go back to that same law firm that's involved in IP Accelerator and have them do both. So if there's a problem, they're the ones who can deal with Amazon through their liaison. But I don't see any reason why you can't, and I would absolutely go for it. Different line of products, different category, different marks. Absolutely go for it.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions here. So Brenda is asking, I just got my Germany trademark. Can I apply for my brand registry in USA? If not, when applying with Amazon Germany for brand registry, will I be able to use it in USA?
I think you can do it through what's called the Madrid Protocol, where you got the Germany one first and you go through Madrid to get US. And also, I know you can do it vice versa. So check out WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. There's a special form through what's called the Madrid Protocol, and I believe you can do it. I don't think you need a lawyer to do it either. I think you do it by yourself. But again, I would check with IP Accelerator to see whether you can use your German one to then get US Now, or if you have to use IP Accelerator. And again, the WIPO application is nothing. I mean, it will take you 5 minutes. But if you need to pay Amazon's lawyers to get brand registry in the US, even if that's the only thing you're paying for, absolutely do it. Brand registry is huge for protecting your sales.
So here's another question from Saurabh. He's saying, great insights. Any suggestion on how Indian sellers can get insurance to sell in the US?
Yeah, in order to get insurance in the US, you have to have a US entity. It could be a US LLC, it could be a US corporation. You're also likely to need a United States called an EIN number. It's our tax ID number. And once you have those things, that US entity can then likely be insured. I don't think there's any issues with residents of citizens of India getting it in the US. I know we've had problems getting it for Chinese citizens, but that was during the whole Trump-China war. But I believe if you're from India, you won't have any problem at all getting a US LLC or a US corporation, and then getting a US tax ID number, and then that entity can be insured.
But what if I have an overseas company? Can I still get insurance for products that I sell in the US, but maybe, you know, from a company outside of the US? Is that possible, or do I have to have a US entity?
Lloyd's of London, say about 2 years ago, was writing some policy. You know, Lloyd's writing is a group of underwriters. A million different companies will sell their policies. I don't know if they're still doing it, but that's where I would take a look. But I would suggest that having a U.S.-based insurance carrier might be better for you if you know what hits the fan.
So
I cleaned up my language just for this show.
Yeah. Okay,
Alan's
so here's a long...
Alan's going to correct my innocent language, I think.
So through the accelerator program, I registered for a new trademark and also brand registry. I have the brand registry issued while the trademark is in process. My question, what happens to brand registry if the trademark gets rejected down the road?
All right, this is what you're going to do, Alan, okay? And this is, I'm not going to call it a dirty trick. I'm going to call it manipulation. You apply for a mark, you get brand registry through IP Accelerator, and it gets rejected. It's not going to get rejected outright. You're going to get what's called an office action. An office action is how you fight within the USPTO for the mark. And you can stretch that out 3, 6, 9 months easy in that office action. And during that entire time, you're still going to have brand registry. Now, ultimately, if you're going for like Nike or Under Armour or Apple, it's going to get rejected. What's going to happen with brand registry? I have no idea, because brand registry is still pretty new. And one of the problems is that you have sellers all over the world getting brand registry for marks that they're never going to get approved of. So it's a minute portion of it, but we've certainly heard of it. So I think, Alan, if you're selling under a brand and you're not getting the mark, you'll be able to stretch that out pretty long.
Okay, Zara saying, I got through IP Accelerator program. Yeah. Mark says, great question. Okay, how can we set up a company with a small warehouse for food products in USA?
Listen, that I don't know, to be honest. When it comes to food products, it's regulated. Some food products are more regulated than others. And I am not the kind of guy who's going to say I know everything, because I clearly don't. Okay, setting up a company is easy. Connecting you with different warehouses are easy. Taking it to the next level, that niche of food products, I would look to other small companies that are doing it and ask them, or check out some of the forums on that, because that I just don't know.
Right. But Mohan, you can also reach out to me separately. We had interviewed somebody from the US previously who actually, he deals in food products, and he actually imports products from India to sell in the US. So he might be able to guide you. Okay, Zargona is asking, if I use my own attorney for trademark, can I qualify for brand registry right away as it is with Accelerator program, or does it have to be Amazon's program?
When IP Accelerator first came out, I guess maybe a year ago, give or take, other lawyers were able to fill out some forms for Amazon to get it. I don't know if that still exists, because we stopped doing it. Depending on where your application is, if you just did it within the last month or 2 months or 3 months, I would reach back out to Amazon's guys and see if they can take over the filing just in case there's an office action. I don't know if other lawyers who are not in bed with Amazon can get the brand registry right away. I don't think they can, but I'm not sure.
Right. So Jim is asking, is account reinstatement for associated account suspensions difficult? The account suspension is due to a related account with another account that's suspended, who's a wholesale supplier. So I think we should cover this topic as well, CJ, because you had brought this up in your suggested topics to cover. So related account suspensions, what's happening with that, and what's the way around that?
Okay, related accounts is a difficult suspension to come back from. If you've identified where the connection is, because Amazon is rarely, if ever, crazy. It's usually a very harsh company, but they have almost always found something that links accounts. We call it related accounts. So you know what the link is. So I would suggest that your plan of action, admit to where that link is, your deep dive investigation, use Amazon's language, deep dive, blah, 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 and identify and then argue how you are separate from them, although you're sourced from the same company. But they are difficult suspensions to win. We do win them, but they're not easy. Related accounts have been exploding ever since Amazon released the identification of sellers here in the United States. And it's not in the way that we predicted. Like, we predicted that people, since they might have 5 accounts with the same address, that were going to get caught. We're not getting a lot of calls about those cases. But ever since sellers' IDs were disclosed, we are getting pummeled with related account suspensions for stupid things like changing your credit card, going from having the account in your name to an LLC, or from your personal name to a corporation, or just changing your credit card or your credit card expiring. And these things are resulting in related account suspensions. Those aren't as difficult to win as when you do have more than one account, which I am not against. Just got to be really careful. But they are difficult to come back. And in your particular one, use the same structure that we talked about for a plan of action, but yours and your systemic changes to your business, you want to identify in your root cause, you want to identify exactly what you're telling us right now, that the reason why Amazon likely thinks the accounts are related is because you're sourcing from the same place, and see if that flies.
So just with credit cards, like obviously we all have to put in a new expiry date every couple of years. Is there a way we go about that? Why are people doing something wrong when they do that? Or is it just a simple, I've changed the date and they're going to ping me?
People must change their credit. There's like 5 million sellers right now, okay? Among us, there are 5 million of you folks selling out there. So let's assume there are, I don't know, tens of thousands every single day, or maybe even hundreds of thousands changing their credit cards. So I don't know how prolific the problem is, because I only get the calls when someone has a problem. No one calls and say, hey man, I changed my credit card and it was great.
I'll ring you when it works next time.
Never. I only get the stressed out call, my account's down, all I did is change my credit card. So it's probably a minute problem, and I don't have a way to avoid it. I mean, credit card's expiring, you have to put a new one in. What I would say is, if you're just starting out or you are changing your credit card for any reason, make it one with the longest expiration date possible. The one that's going to last the longest. If you look at your card, right, and your Amex is expiring next month, no good. Get a new card and then load it up.
Right. We have a really long question from Mark. Do you want to read this, CJ?
Sure. Just back to the acceptance of brand registry based on an application to IP Accelerator. What is the likelihood of Amazon going back to revoking access to A+ and storefront content? If a trademark is not confirmed in time, what percentage of likelihood would you place on this happening from an Amazon point of view? First of all, I can't give percentages on anything at all. I think that if your mark gets denied, eventually you're going to lose registry, but we haven't seen that yet because IP is so new. And let me just go back to the question here. And revoking access, I don't think that's going to happen at all. If you get back, you will have the same exact access. Amazon wants enhanced content. They want better listings. They want video. They want better pictures. They want more lively listings. So this is just my opinion, okay? I think you get everything back if you survive. You lose everything eventually if you never get the mark. But who knows? Amazon has done just about everything erratically. So maybe if you're selling on a trademark that gets rejected, it takes Amazon 2 or 3 years to catch up. Who knows?
Right, okay. So, CJ, are there any ramifications from Amazon revealing all the sellers' IDs and US addresses or Australian addresses that have just taken place in the last month, and everyone's been panicking, changing addresses and post office boxes and all sorts of things? I've said if they want to fly to Australia and knock on my door, go for it. I've left it.
Well, listen, a lot of listeners may not have been around when we went to the year 2000 and everyone thought every computer on earth was going to stop working, right? When the millennium hit, and I know I was scanning stuff one page at a time and turning the clocks back. So we expected it to be a huge problem when Amazon revealed information. We expected that to hit people getting caught with multiple accounts, and it just didn't happen. So what we are seeing is that sellers have a significantly increased risk of IP complaints, intellectual property right complaints, being delivered to their home and frightening you a little bit more than it just going through the account. There's certainly a little bit more risk if you sell a product and it hurts somebody or burns down somebody's home, because now they know where you are and they could give you the legal papers really easily. All these things could have been done anyway, because if someone gets sued in court and they don't know who you are, they just go to the judge and say, we don't know who they are. Can we serve them through Amazon system? And the courts routinely say yes. So I do think that this whole thing with the credit cards and changing things is part of the revelation process, maybe, but we have not really seen anything bad happen yet. But you're certainly a bit more exposed. You have a few less layers of protection between brands coming after you and people and companies coming after you, because now they just know who you are and where you are.
Right. So Mark is saying, awesome. Thanks, CJ. Appreciate this fantastic content. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
So, CJ, what sort of strengths do sellers have that they might not know about?
All right. This is like my favorite part, okay? Because I was like before doing this, I was a personal injury lawyer, ambulance chaser, I don't care what you call me. I was in court every day for people hurt in car accidents and trip and falls and hurt by bad products. So I'm a fighter and I look for strengths. So here are what I call sellers' powers, okay? If a brand makes a baseless intellectual property right complaint against you, don't sweat. They've probably opened the door for you to have claims against them. So you're going to have your invoices. You're going to have it tracked all the way back to the manufacturer. Then you say, hey, brand, you owe me $10,000 because you made a baseless complaint against me. If they claimed you were selling counterfeit, you have a slam dunk defamation case against them. If they claim that your products were trademark infringement or some other issue, then you have interference with contract claims. So you have a lot of power against brands who make baseless IP complaints. Also, if you are outside the United States, okay, you're in Australia, you're in Singapore, you're in China, you are any place in the world other than the United States, and you're accused of violating somebody's copyright, you can send what's called a Digital Millennium Copyright Act counter notice. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act is a United States law that was created, and a counter notice is a document that you can send to anybody who makes a copyright complaint. It basically says, hey, sue me or else your complaint disappears. How many companies, especially smaller ones, are going to bother suing somebody in China or Australia when they can't collect anything from you? So this is one of the powers that you have, that you are a little bit untouchable or harder to touch if you're outside the United States. So sellers' powers are pretty bold. You can stand up to baseless complaints against brands. You can also use counter notices, even if you're wrong, because if they don't sue you, it disappears. If they do sue you, then you're going to have to defend yourself. But these are just some of the powers that sellers have. Also, I don't want sellers to think I'm rushing you into court. Each of the legal claims can simply be used as leverage. I would never use the word threat. So I don't believe in threatening people unless you're going to follow through, but you could certainly use it as leverage. And we've done it. We have used it as leverage to negotiate resolutions, and we have also followed through. Anybody on this show, you can do a search of our formal name of our firm, Rosenbaum Familaro, and this little team in America called the Dallas Cowboys. And they messed with the wrong seller, okay? And so we went after them. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty happy with the results. So sellers, you have a lot of power. You're innovative, you can pivot, you have rights, you develop a private label brand, you can protect yourself just like the big guys. We do it every day for private label brands. So you have a ton of seller's power.
Awesome. That is good to know. CJ, what do you think about all of these black hat tactics that are, going on Amazon? And recently there's this news report also about, quite a few people being served notices. I mean, some were in the US and then some were in India as well, and all of the, bribery that's going on and everything. What are your thoughts on what's going on, and how can sellers protect themselves from all of that's happening out there?
Okay, first of all, if you were involved with any of those three people and they worked on your account, you need to be very, very careful to make sure that either you didn't participate, or if someone tried to do something great for you because they wanted to impress you, that could have been done without your knowledge. So first of all, if the FBI should reach out to speak with you, get a lawyer and never, ever lie to the FBI. Lying to them is in itself a crime. So get a lawyer right away and always tell the truth to the FBI. Number one. In terms of the bribes and stuff, what I personally think, and I met Ed Rosenberg, I've worked with, I spoke at his events, I've met his wife, his parents, and his brother, and I personally like it. I don't like what he is accused of doing if it turns out to be true. I especially find it kind of disgusting if inside tactics were used to close people down. Like, I kind of get, if someone wants to bribe somebody to help their own business and get their account back up, especially if it was closed for bullshit reasons, for bullshit reasons, I kind of can understand that. But what I really find disgusting is paying people to shut down other people's livelihoods and put other people out of work. That really rubs me the wrong way. So those are my thoughts on it. If you didn't ask for it to be done for you and you think it has been, speak with a criminal defense lawyer. Just be prepared to be honest. Because I can also recognize that if any of those three people had a huge seller who needed help and they wanted to impress them, and they could do it by doing a bribe without the seller even knowing, that might have been done. So it could have happened to your account without your knowledge, but you certainly, if you get contacted by anybody, get yourself a criminal defense lawyer, get someone in Seattle. If you want to contact me, I can refer you to a couple of people. But I guess that I really find it awful that those type of things were done to put other people out of business.
Right. So Amazon keeps saying that they are trying to keep these black hat tactics, in check, and it's only a small percentage of people who are doing that, which is of course true. But do you see an increase in sort of black hat tactics and all happening recently, or do you see, the number of tactics and the number of accounts being hacked reducing, over the last few months?
You know what? The only addition to, I'm going to call it black hat tactics that we're seeing are the brands, that these corporate guys, I think when you make a baseless counterfeit complaint, when you make a baseless trademark complaint because you just don't know how to do it right on Amazon, you don't know how to protect your brand on Amazon, and then you make these baseless complaints that put sellers out of work, I think that's black hat. We've seen a dramatic increase in that. The other stuff with the listings, we really have not seen an increase. In fact, we've seen a decrease in that sort of stuff, except by brands. So brands, you're engaging in black hat tactics. And if you have a brand and you want to protect it the right way, the legitimate way, contact us and we'll talk you through it. But overall, we have not seen an increase in seller versus seller dirty tricks or black hat tactics, just an increase in brands making baseless complaints against sellers.
Right, that makes sense. Margaret, do you have any more questions?
Look, I don't know whether CJ is sort of on top of this yet, because I just read it this morning myself about now Amazon are doing this listings classified with pesticides, and you need EPA registration and all those things, and it's all taking place, like I think it was as of the 6th of October, which was yesterday or today over there for you. So yeah, have you sort of heard anything about that as yet, or
We've seen pesticide suspensions and accusations come and go over the years. We haven't seen a dramatic increase, and I haven't read the new policy. You folks know, like, this is not my normal green screen behind me. It's not my normal studio. I had the distinct pleasure of riding the United States Amtrak system from New York to Fort Lauderdale. I'm in my parents' apartment right now to help my parents out with a health issue. I haven't read it, but we haven't really seen any dramatic change. If they think it's a pesticide, you're going to get suspended, and you have to show that your product is okay and not harmful. Other than that, I'm just not aware of a new policy when it comes to the pesticides.
Yeah, no, well, apparently they're saying any new listings as of the 6th of October have to be EPA registered.
It makes sense, and I can't say I disagree with it. I think it really is a good thing. What it's going to do is going to separate the legitimate sellers with the product that are not harmful or are used properly. It's only, listen, a rising tide lifts all ships. You're a good seller. You're sourcing good products. You're developing a brand. This only lifts everybody up. Things that protect Amazon, and believe me, I see Amazon's warts every day, 7 days a week, in all time zones. But anything that helps the marketplace do better helps you do better. It puts more legitimacy to your products that are coming through this remarkable company that Jeff Bezos built. So it's not all bad. It's just another way of delivering high quality products that you can meet the bar and exceed it and succeed by selling products through what is in reality in the United States right now, the only game in town to be a retailer. And you guys are already there. So these things are actually good for sellers.
Yeah, that's good.
Right. That's good. Mano is giving us high fives. Awesome. So guys, we're starting to wrap up over here. If you have any more questions, type them in the comments now. So CJ, what are some interesting cases you've come across recently, or bizarre or weird cases or complaints from sellers?
Well, what we're seeing a lot, and you brought up dirty tactics against sellers, is that as sellers have matured, the veterans on Amazon are like 5 years selling, 10 years max as a third-party seller. So as more and more sellers develop successful businesses, they're less and less inclined to take shit and bad tactics from other sellers. So we have grown an entire litigation department for sellers to sue the brand or to use leverage against the brands for their baseless complaints. For sellers to go against other sellers, like, hey, we know it was you, we know what you're doing, you better stop or else. So the maturation of the businesses on Amazon is really, really cool. And we brought on someone that I've literally known since the 4th grade. We're friends now, 44 years, right? His name's Neil Flynn, and he's a brilliant lawyer. He's one of these guys that got a perfect 1600 on his SATs, went to Columbia, on a full ride scholarship, but he's also like a street fighter type guy. And I've been begging him for years to join us, and he just joined us just solely to protect sellers' rights against other sellers and against big brands. So the fact that sellers have these now mature businesses that they're willing to fight to protect, to me, that is super cool. So that to me is like one of the most exciting things that we have. I think we got retained for like 4 different litigations in the last 2 weeks where sellers just like, I've had enough, go get them. So I think it's really cool that the business is maturing, and all these different things, Amazon having higher standards with the EPA, getting private label brands and all brands brand registered to control your listing. It's a maturation of the industry, and it's a rising tide that will lift all sellers up. So that to me is one of the coolest things.
Right. So Zara is asking, just curious how some sellers get hundreds of positive reviews in a few weeks. Are they using black hats techniques?
Here's the silence. Listen, there's no way you're getting hundreds of positive reviews in a couple of weeks, without also getting a velocity complaint because your product took off. So I would think they're doing something a bit underhanded. Megla, what do you think? You know a lot of sellers. Hundreds of positive reviews in a couple of weeks?
Totally. There's something fishy over there, and they're going to get caught, right? Sooner or later, Amazon's algorithm is going to catch that, right? So I don't think sellers should risk doing that. Yeah.
Velocity issues, review manipulation, which is a really tough thing. Here's what it boils down to. Okay, it's called the duck, the DUCK, the duck test. All right. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
That is good. Yes. Remember that, Zara. Duck. It's a duck. Okay, Stephen, any thoughts on the physical address of sellers being available for anyone to view new overseas seller here? So, Stephen, we talked about this. You probably just joined the webinar. So wait for the webinar to end and then go watch the replay again. Okay, Debbie, this is a great webinar. Thank you. I have brand registry and another seller is selling my branded product at $1 less using my ASIN listing, images, copy, and brand. I'm in the process of asking the brand registry department of Amazon to remove them. I'm the only manufacturer. I'm doing the right thing. Oh, am I doing the right thing? Is this called hijacking? Thanks, Sydney, Australia.
Okay, yes, this is hijacking, and you need brand protection. Brand protection. So what you need to do with your products is to build something else into your product, which you may already have in your warranty, a post-sale benefit, something that other sellers cannot deliver. Once you do that, you take your product outside of the first sale doctrine in the United States, which means anybody can sell anything that they want without your permission, but you take it outside of the first sale doctrine, and now you can stop those sellers. So brand registry helps tremendously. And that's exactly what my partner Rob Siegel focuses on, brand protection for people just like you. So what we do is we look at your product and your warranty and we start saying, okay, is there something already here that a hijacker cannot deliver? Even if they're selling a genuine product, if they're buying it from you, what do you deliver to a consumer that they can't? If it is a material difference, you are going home to the races and knocking them right out of the box. If you don't have something, we'll suggest things to your warranty, to your product, to your website, storage issues, application issues, coaching, whatever it might be for your product, to add something to it that takes it outside the first sale doctrine. And then we use brand registry to first warn the sellers saying, hey, you gotta stop selling this product because you're either violating our IP rights or you're not delivering the same thing to the consumer. And most sellers will then stop, especially if it comes from us. And the ones that just refuse to stop, you'll be compelled to make a complaint against them. But that's a last-ditch nuclear option. So look at the product. What do you deliver that other people can't? And then start enforcing that difference to first persuade them to stop selling. And then if you have to go nuclear, you make the complaint.
So what sort of things can we add that other sellers can't? I mean, so it's not in the product itself. Is it like a warranty, or what are some examples of things that can be added?
Warranties are a great tool to use for the right. Okay, so let's say I bought my pair of glasses, right? And I bought it from a particular seller, and the warranty says money back guarantee. No good, not enough. Money is homogenous. Anybody can return money, and Amazon gives money back anyway under the A to Z system, right? But if that same eyeglass manufacturer says, hey, CJ, if you're wearing your glasses and they get sort of bent, send them back to us and we will fix them the same exact factory where they were made, back to factory specs. A hijacker cannot deliver that portion of the warranty. There is a difference in the product, and you can use that. It works great for high-end electronics like speakers and microphones, where the impedance and the sound quality. It works for things like Wusthof cutlery out of Germany. If you have one of their steak knives, they actually will send it back to the factory. It could also be certain storage issues, how you package and store it. Amazon also accepts Amazon-specific packaging as a difference. So if you're the only one that can send your Amazon-specific packaging into FBA and the other sellers have your packaging meant for brick and mortar, that's also useful. There could also be things that if they buy from you, they get added benefits, like a special page on your website or added consumer support or the latest updates on the newest glasses that are coming out. And if you don't buy from an authorized seller, you don't get those benefits. So all these different things can be used to legitimately get rid of hijackers, unlike what a lot of other brands are doing. We're just going, oh, counterfeit, okay? Counterfeit means it's fake. If it's fake, make that complaint. If it's not fake, if they're genuine, do not allege it's counterfeit. You're opening yourself up to liability, and find something else in your product or build something else into your product so that you deliver something to the consumer that nobody else can deliver. And that's what Rob, my partner Rob, is an expert at doing this.
So Helen has a question. Would this brand difference apply to, say, a photo of an artisan in India making that product?
I don't know if a picture of who's making it would make a difference, but we've had a lot of success with brands making donations. So let's say for every product you sell, for every dollar, you take 1 penny from the sale, you match it with 1 penny of yours, and then you donate it to that artisan's family or that neighborhood or whatever it is, right? Anyone can do the donation, but they can't match it with yours. So that would be a difference that you can use to stop a hijacker. So maybe have some copyright claims to it, maybe you don't. Does that really make the product different? I don't really know. But each product, you need to find something. I'm not sure if that would suffice.
Right. So last question, and then we'll start wrapping up. So Zara's asking, my product went live a few weeks ago on the Amazon USA marketplace and is doing well. I was shocked to see my product being sold in Amazon Canada with the same listing, images, and my reviews. How are these sellers getting away with this? What should I do?
Zara, you're the same one, I think, who said you have IP Accelerator and you have brand registry. Find something in your product that you deliver to the consumer that those hijackers do not, and then send them a cease and desist communication. You can go to my website, look at how we write them, and send them a notation saying when you deliver the product, they're not getting the same warranty. They're not getting the same post-sale benefits. They don't participate in FDA recalls or whatever applies to your product. And let them know that if they don't stop selling, you're going to make a complaint against them. Sellers do not want complaints. Complaints put them at risk of their entire business getting shut down. You don't want to make false ones. They don't want to receive any. So that's what I would do. Look at your product, find something you deliver that other people can't, that they're not delivering. Use that for your C&D. You can't find something in your warranty that someone else can't deliver, contact us. We'll find something. We'll build something for you.
That also too just could be Amazon moving her own listing into Canada and Mexico if she's got the settings set wrong in her back end. So she probably needs to check that out as well, because it might be her self-selling and she doesn't know it.
That is the back end is outside my wheelhouse. You listen to this.
Yes, Zara, if it is indeed another seller selling it, then you could probably reach out to CJ's team and see if they can help you with that. Okay, awesome. So CJ, do you want to tell people about your services and how they can contact you?
Okay, I'm happy to. We are the world's greatest at writing plans of action and appeals, but it's not all that we do. We do brand protection for private label sellers, and as your brand grows, we grow with you. If another seller is screwing around with you or cost you damages, contact us. We also, again, as Amazon sellers' businesses have grown and matured, we also provide traditional legal services to Amazon sellers. You're hiring someone, you're afraid they're going to steal your secrets and start competing with you. We can give you an NDA. It takes us about, I don't know, 46 seconds to give you a non-disclosure agreement. You need to be careful about employee claims in the United States. Wage and hour litigation is off the charts. Lawyers in the States are looking for people to sue because other areas have been devastated by the coronavirus. So plans of action and appeal, intellectual property right issues, which no one but a lawyer should be touching on either side, either defending you or protecting you, brand protection. If you need to go after Amazon or another seller, we're here for you. And just, I'm honored that, Megla, you invite me to speak at these things. We've grown with you, we've grown with the sellers, and if you have a need, we'll do everything we can, bend over to help you get back to what you do best, which is selling, by dealing with all the different problems, which is what we do best.
Awesome. And the best way to contact your team is just via the website, right? AmazonSellersLawyer.com.
AmazonSellersLawyer.com, and the top left is my email address, CJ@AmazonSellersLawyer.com. Sellers is plural, lawyer is singular. You can also call us on a toll-free number. I mean, I'm kind of old school. I use my phone a lot. I like talking to people. If you look at our reviews, I talk to people nights, weekends, holidays. We pride ourselves on being here. You're there 24/7, so we try to be.
Awesome. Margaret, anything else before we let CJ go?
No, I think that's been help for a lot of people. There's so much to take in though, and there's so much to learn about all this litigation and hijackers and everything else, and brand registry and now pesticides. It's going to keep you in business. Something else for you to work on, CJ, is the pesticide. All the people who are going to get closed down in the next month because they haven't got the right EPA paperwork.
Well, we're going to try and get you back in business as quickly as possible. We've allocated our resources and our people from certain teams into plans of action, into dealing with IP issues, just so we can do a faster turnaround in Q4, and especially in light of the COVID crisis. So we're here for you. AmazonSellersLawyer.com.
Awesome. Cool. Well, CJ, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for staying up late. So it's almost 11 p.m. over there, and you're tired. You've had a long day, long journey. So thank you so much, CJ, and we can't wait to meet you in India, hopefully next year.
I can't wait to get back. I can't wait to get back to Australia. I can't wait to get back to India. That trip to Delhi to the trade show, I mean, it was just remarkable. The insanely high quality of the products. Okay, I mean, just head and shoulders higher quality than the products you see in China. And no offense to the Chinese, okay, a lot of high quality stuff, but the artistry, the woodwork, the metal products, the paper products, the jewelry, I mean, just off the charts, and a beautiful country to see.
Right.
Awesome.
We'll see you at the bar soon.
Yeah.
And the bar.
In the bar. we'll all hang out in the bar just for something different.
Awesome. All right, CJ, thanks a lot, and we'll see you around. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.